Welcome to SUPRS Live. This is the Supermodified Ultimate Payment Racing Series, the original Supermodified Sim Racing sanction. Tonight, we are at the famed Berlin Raceway for the first time in our 16-year history, and it is going to be a fast one. Already, we've gone through time trials, and we've set a track record of 15.244. Hey, we want to welcome everybody into the Supers Broadcasting Network on Twitch as well as on supers.net, Supers Live. If you're on Twitch, let us know where you're watching from. Hit us up in the chat there. You can also chat with us on our Supers Live page at Supers Live or supers.net/site/live, and that'll give you the opportunity to hang out with some other friends and fans there. Only one stream going tonight. Streamlabs OBS has decided to do an update, and our in-cars with Rob Warren and Bob Gangwer will not be running, but we'll have a great stream, I'm sure, with our buddy and broadcast producer Kevin Timmons doing the work out there with Hairbag Studios. Looking forward to that. We are also looking forward to some big races coming up here as we race NASCAR Heat. But one thing we want to get out of the way before we go any further is a little bit of history about this place that we're running tonight. This is a very famous track when it comes to real super modified racing. And a guy that probably can tell you more about than any of us possibly could is the elder statesman of supers, super modified wrench turner back in the day, as well as sprint cars. Saw many, many races with the original part of the division. You gave birth to the division up there at Berlin and the Grand Rapids Speedrome and all those great Michigan tracks. Really got the super modified division started. And before they made their move to the home of the super modifieds, Oswego Speedway, Carl Becker. Carl, let's talk a little bit about Berlin Raceway. For the fans that don't know what it's like to be there and watch a race there, give them a clue as to what they could expect at a real super modified race at Berlin.
It's a kind of a bit of a strange shaped track, but it's quite fast. They don't run so many supermod races there anymore, but the thing that you got to remember about that is there was some guys that raced there in the speedrome, like you said, and one of them won the classic in a white number 21, and that would be Johnny Benson's dad. You know, he and Cy Fairchild from the east side of the state went over there and run. They had guys that run at the little bitty racetrack there by Flint, and they pretty much it all kind of gravitated in that direction. And Wayne Landon ran there, and I don't know, the Vanderlands and the what of them that those guys actually kind of started racing just like Oswego did. They started with the jalopies, and they just kept making them faster and faster and faster, and then they kind of went to the point where when they started traveling a bit, and there were super mod classes all over the place, and they started a organization called TRISAC, and TRISAC would run in Michigan and Indiana and a bit in Ohio, and they actually kind of I was told, I didn't see it, but there was times that they actually ran on dirt tracks, and there was an awful lot of good guys that started at Berlin, and a lot of the late model guys and the ASA fellas started there, and because it was if you could run there, you could run just about anywhere because it was a bit of a tricky track, and always good racing at Berlin, always worse.
Carl, this is a big track. What for people that are used to short track racing? It's very unique in its shape out there and makes it one of the faster tracks out there. But they don't call it a half mile; they call it what is it, a 0.665 or something?
Well,
right?
it's they have now decided that it and Auto City both are 7/16. the old fellow that became one of the Michigan Motorsports Hall of Famers, and one of the first ones that was inducted, swears in by gosh that he had the wheel and went the 5.5 or 6 foot up off the bottom of the racetrack, and he always swore it was actually a half-mile track. So it's there's kind of a debate there, and so there's always two factions fussing about that. And the racing is good. They don't race as many open wheel cars there as they used to, and ISMA does not come over anymore. And there used to be a great show when ISMA would come. They'd run Berlin, and then they'd run Kalamazoo, and they put on a great show at both of those tracks.
Yeah, without doubt, some of the greatest racing in the Midwest and all of Supermodified racing. Fast racetrack. Hey, if folks, if you sign up for our email newsletter, if you were signed up for it, you got a notification that we were racing at Berlin here tonight, and there was a link to an YouTube video, Supermodifieds at Berlin Raceway. And if you follow us on social media, you got to see some history from the Phil Geisel's album. His widow put together a nice YouTube video, shows a lot of those drivers that Carl was talking about in the early days of Supermodified races. So we hit it both from the beginning and here in the later years. So go to our YouTube channel. You can check out a lot of those videos loaded right up to the top of our real Supermodified playlist, or go to supers.net, scroll to the bottom of the website, and that playlist is embedded down there. Carl, I want to thank you so much for giving us some history, nice history lesson on the famed Berlin Raceway, where speed belongs, in Marne, Michigan, at the Marne Fairgrounds. Great talking to you. Good luck tonight, Carl. The Docker Titanium Roadster sure would look good in Victory Lane again at Berlin Raceway.
Sure would, wouldn't it?
Carl Becker, ladies and gentlemen, from Lansing, Michigan. He'll be going into the heat race here. Just missed the cutoff for the Fast Four. And as we said, Berlin Raceway, if you haven't seen any racing from there, you need to check it out. Last week we raced at Kalamazoo Speedway, where they also have a good history of racing super modifieds. So, and it's good to stay in Michigan for another week for sure. Last week, though, we were in Michigan, as we said, at Kalamazoo Speedway, and the winner was Rob Warren. Rob Warren won the Dion Parrish Memorial, and the Dion Parrish Memorial is probably our most important race, as it's the reason we race, how we got our start in 2004, to remember fallen racer driver Dion Parrish. And what Supers does is race online to help injured super modified drivers, and the way we do that is through donations to the Dion Parrish Memorial Benevolent Fund for super modifieds. Dion, a Michigan resident, got to race his vintage modified at Berlin, was a champion in that division, also got to race his super modified at Berlin as well. But your donations get back to the drivers, teams, and families of super modified racing in their times of need. When a driver is injured, oftentimes they don't have insurance, and we try to do our best to help them out. So your donation certainly goes for a good cause there. It doesn't go to pay for server costs or broadcasting or anything else. Your donations go to help injured super modified drivers through the Dion Parrish Memorial Benevolent Fund for super modifieds. Just go to supers.net, click the donate tab in the upper right-hand corner of the site, or look for the graphic, and that'll take you right where you need to go. Tonight, we've got a lot of great racing, but last week we had some great racing at Kalamazoo. As we said, Rocket Rob Warren picked up his third Dion Parrish Memorial win, and it was a challenging race for sure, as Keith Powell was right on his rear Nerf bar all the way. We went green to checker in just a little under 11 minutes. Factor game. Don't forget, folks, tonight, though, we're running NASCAR Heat, that old 18 or 19-year-old game. We still run it. We are still having a blast. Our first race ever at Berlin, and we just enjoy running NASCAR Heat. It's maybe not as perfect as the new NASCAR Heats, but it's also pretty cool because there's so many tracks like Berlin that have been made for NASCAR Heat. And I'm going to tell you what, you can go to heatfinder.net right now, and you can vote for Supers. Go to heatfinder.net/vote. If you don't have an account, sign up for one there. Just about any computer will play this game, including the latest Windows 10 computers, and the oldest computers will race it as well. You can race online, offline. You can even race speedboats with NASCAR Heat. But when you go to NASCAR Heat or heatfinder.net right now, and you go to heatfinder.net/vote, you can vote for Driver of the Year. And that's Rob Warren is our choice as our champion. He's up for Driver of the Year. You could also go to League of the Year. SUPRS is up for nomination in that. Support Organization of the Year. Mod of the Year, we've got 2 mods. Our mod that we're running tonight, as well as our very first in-house built mod, the Supermodifieds, is up for nomination. Our SUPRS Oswego version, or Oswego Speedway, is up for a nomination. And we've got 2 of our developers, Doug Flashforg and Kevin Shaker Marine, are up for Developer of the Year. You can go to heatfinder.net/vote, and while you're there, check it out. After you make an account and vote, you can go racing with those guys through the ARL, running modifieds right now, and running stock cars as well, run Indy cars. Just a lot of cool stuff there. Check them out. Heatfinder.net. We've got a couple of Heatfinder regulars racing with us as well, and enjoy having them. So heatfinder.net/vote is where you want to go to throw your vote in the ballot box for SUPRS. Voting ends on the 26th, so make sure you get those votes in